I just feel an impression from God right now that there's an undue sense of lack in people's lives and their hearts right now. And I just want to remind you, Jesus and his ministry 2,000 years ago on earth, you could measure what he had in the natural. He didn't have these microphones and the instrumentalists. He didn't have a building with pews and cushions. He didn't have a roof. Oh, foxes have holes. Birds have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to rest his head. And in the natural, it wasn't about accumulating some large-scale operation. I'm not against those things. We've got a vision for it. But if you look at where Jesus started his ministry, if you look at the moment that the Spirit of God descended upon him like a dove, before he did anything, before he healed one person, before he took authority over one demon, before he gave one teaching in the synagogue, before he did anything in his ministry, the Spirit of God descended on him like a dove, and a voice, an audible voice, came out of the sky, and it said, "This is my Son, whom I love. With him I'm well pleased." And you've got to remember this about Jesus. It was before he performed. It was before he did his ministry. It was before he started doing great works unto God and building his name. But you can say, well, Jesus, he was sinless and he was perfect and he never did anything wrong. How are you any different right now? Positionally, how are you any different? I know you've got sin. I know you have areas of in your history or even in your current state where you're like, this is unredeemed, this is unrenewed, this isn't the new creation. But is not the work of Christ and the blood of Christ fully sufficient to deal with every lack, every sin, every mistake, every problem? And I just feel God saying over this people, this is my Son. This is my Son. You've got to say that over yourself right now. This is my Son. It's heaven declaring something. Are you ready? With you, he's well pleased. He loves you. He loves you. With you, he's well pleased. I felt the Father heart of God during worship. I mean, we had Caitlin. She led a song. She led us in worship for the first time ever. And it was awesome. And I could feel the warmth and I could feel the response out of heaven just applauding her. And it's awesome. But I want to tell you something. God was pleased with Caitlin before she ever did that. God loved Caitlin before she ever had the dream in her head to lead worship, before she ever stood up to a piano or a keyboard, before she ever led anything or contributed to the work. God felt that way towards her. And I just feel like we've got to break something off of our souls, off of our minds. Whatever measurement you're using to try to level up in the kingdom and try to say, well, I'm trying to measure up to some standard. God's saying, no, you're my son, you're my daughter, you're my child, you're my kid. With you, I'm well pleased. You're the one whom I love. No greater love is this, that a man should lay down his life for his friends.